All right. The results are in. We know who the next president is. It is Donald J. Trump. And I, for one, am very excited. Brandon, how do you feel? How do you
I
feel after Election Day?
I am super excited. As I told a friend last night at church, I was like, I am super excited because it's like 71 or 72 days when he takes office. And
Yep.
I'm gonna do drill, baby, drill, and
Drill, baby, drill.
yes, super excited. But
Oh, my goodness.
I will say this, and I'll ask you: Did you stay up
Yes,
until he found out? Okay, I did not because
I did.
because I had to work the next day, and
Yeah.
I knew if I had stayed up, I was just going to be a complete waste, and I already knew what I had at work waiting for me. Getting back because I had to take a couple days off, off this week earlier in this week because kids were sick, I was sick, and so I knew I had a storm load of work waiting for me. So I was deciding, you know what, I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to go to bed. But then I woke up, I remember at 3 o'clock in the morning, I randomly wake up at times, and there I saw the news results on my phone. He won. I was so excited. So what was it like? I mean, staying up. You didn't have to work.
It was
though, right?
I didn't have to work. No.
But you did have a parent, and you probably were feeling pretty groggy.
You know what? I was feeling groggy, but I was not feeling nearly as groggy as I would have if we lost. Because I was very excited yesterday. Or not yesterday, Tuesday. Yeah, so I stayed up, and I knew it was going to be a decent night as soon as North Carolina and Georgia were called within like 2 hours of the polls closing.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching the Daily Wire's coverage of the election. So, it's reliable conservative source, so I enjoyed that. And it was funny because the guys on the Daily Wire were talking about how they're feeling about the election. North Carolina got called, Georgia got called. Trump started racking up electoral votes. I think around 10 o'clock, he had already racked up almost 220 electoral votes.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting with electoral votes because, usually Trump stayed in a lead ahead of Kamala the entire night. Usually, Republican starts off, then
it goes back and forth
up, and then the Republican might then finally, soar to the end right there. But that never occurred. She never surpassed him in electoral votes throughout the race of the night. Which was
it was insane, and they kept referencing the New York Times has a needle of likelihood of who's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because in 2016 they kept referencing this needle because Hillary Clinton, it started out at 99% chance that Hillary Clinton was going to win, and it just kept slowly moving in the Trump direction. And last night, I think, or election night, it was at 50-50, so there's a 50% chance for either one to win, and the needle just kept slowly moving over to Trump. And I think at like 9 o'clock there was a 60% chance. As soon as Georgia was called, there was almost a 70% chance that Trump was going to win. I think by 11 or 12 o'clock last night, there was a 95% chance that Trump was going to win. And it was encouraging. It was a night that really just didn't disappoint. It was a lot of fun. I personally engaged in a fun activity of mine that when Trump wins an election, I like to watch CNN and just watch them burn down. And they were all just talking about his his court cases and stuff, and there was one lady on there who's still hoping that he can go to jail, and the guy's like, no, like all of these they're all going away. Like all of his court cases, they're all just going away. Like Jack Smith is already talking about dismissing the cases with the DOJ, and it's just nothing's going to happen.
Yeah,
so.
Because Barr came out, his previous Secretary of the Department of Justice, right? And he said, you guys need to do the Americans a favor and just stop everything because
get rid of him.
Why? Not only did he obviously get the electoral votes, but he got the popular vote as well. The first time that
that's what's fascinating to me.
Yeah, in 20 years for a Republican president, and not only that, I know there's 2 more states that they're still finishing the count, but those states are both leaning red. They're both swing states, Arizona and Nevada.
It's Arizona and Nevada. Yeah,
Yep.
Trump's projected to be at like 312 electoral votes.
Yeah, that's a electoral landslide, and he gets the popular vote landslide.
Yep.
I mean, he has
unreal.
The part, yes, it is
unreal.
Quite fascinating.
Yeah, and like Trump, he did a really good job. He, CNN, MSNBC, they were all trying to credit this to like just rural white men. So like the white farmers got out and voted, basically,
and white women too. I've saw that.
Right, but here's the thing: that's not the case. Like the black male vote, Trump got over 20% of that vote on election night. He got 45% of the Hispanic vote. 46% of the Hispanic vote.
Wow.
The last Republican to get even over 30% of the Hispanic vote was George Bush in 2004.
Wow.
And that was the last president to get the popular vote as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Trump got 33% of the non-white vote total across the country. He got 60% of the white male vote. He got 21% of the black male vote. He actually got 53% of the white women vote, which is the category or the demographic that Kamala Harris was really trying to, hammer on with the whole abortion argument and everything like that. So, the fact that he got that high of a percentage of white women was surprising because they were supposed to break for Trump. He also got 55% of the Latino men vote. Latino women, he got 40%, which is still pretty good. But the most fascinating demographic for me that Trump did really well in is the ages 18 to 29. He won 50% of that vote.
Wow.
Unreal. Yeah. Unreal. So this isn't like, and this is what I keep, me and my wife were talking about it. This is what I keep saying. This wasn't a select demographic chose the president of the United States. This wasn't like working class white men that came together and just decided to vote. Like me, blue collar white men.
The typical
this was the whole country. Yeah, typical racist. Yeah, I mean, Trump is winning the popular vote by 5 million votes. 5 million. He lost. So he's winning by I think right now he's got 50.9% of the total vote of the country. Kamala Harris has 47.6. So Trump is up on her 3.3%. And Hillary Clinton only won the popular vote in 2016 by 2 points.
Yeah. So,
and whether you like the guy or not, this is the greatest political comeback in American history.
It is.
Ever. The last guy to serve a non-consecutive second term was Grover Cleveland over 100 years ago.
So, as excited as I am that Trump won, I can't wait for him to officially take office once again. Let's talk about Kamala, though. Why do you think she lost? Obviously, there is not one counting, as the data has shown, where she outperformed Biden in 2020.
Yeah.
Not one thing. And this goes back to, and people have been saying it on both sides. She's not a good candidate. She never was a good candidate.
No.
For presidency. And it was like a punch to the face, a blow to the face, rejection of her to become president of the United States when you can't even outperform Sleepy Joe Biden. How bad of a candidate does that say that you are?
Oh my goodness!
And so, why do you think she lost? I mean, obviously the left is saying, it's race is to blame, white women are to blame, right? She didn't have long enough to really get her message out.
Yeah.
Right. So what is your 2 cents here and why she?
Yeah, I think she failed so badly because she just doesn't know what she's doing at all. She's incredibly divisive. I think she was relying on the 2012 Barack Obama campaign strategy, which was to appeal to minority women and college-educated white women, single women, basically. She was running on the abortion issue as her primary issue. She was running campaign ads basically telling wives that they don't have to vote the same way as their husbands and nobody has to know. And there was this whole rumor about a whisper campaign for Kamala Harris where women were leaving post-it notes in the bathroom, and all she was doing was appealing to women. That's all she was doing the entire campaign.
Yeah.
And don't give me any of this. She didn't have time to run a campaign garbage, because she raised more money than Donald Trump did in 3 months than Donald Trump did in the whole year that he was campaigning. She raised over $1 billion in campaign funds. She had unlimited amounts of money, unlimited resources. I do think the Democratic Party as a whole is also just very out of touch with the American people. They have no idea what Americans want. They have no clue. And I think that showed in the polls on election day, because you go, okay, a guy who you are claiming is Hitler and he's going to be a dictator and he's going to do all this nonsense, most of the country doesn't believe you. Like, Trump won not only the Electoral College, which when it was looking like he was going to have the Electoral College victory, CNN and MSNBC were already saying that we need to get rid of the Electoral College. But he won the popular vote. So if you want to use the Democrats' argument of this is what most Americans want, this is the system we should use, Trump still won.
Yeah.
So this is what most Americans want. And Trump, like I said earlier, he didn't just have a victory that was centralized to one demographic that carried him over the finish line.
It was across the board.
This was everybody. He won Miami-Dade County in Florida.
Yeah. Well, this goes back to the one episode we did, weeks ago. We're talking about the great shift to the Trump administration, right?
There is a realignment in American politics right now.
Kennedy shifted, and this is Trumpism, and I think I've been looking at it, kind of figuring out and trying to define, what exactly is Trumpism, in the sense of, you have the Republican Party, you have the Democrat Party. When Trump came in 2016, he really propelled the Republican Party in a direction that really needed to go, and give them some firepower, a backbone essentially to obviously advocate for what the Republicans stand for and so forth there. But now I would almost say that with Trumpism, although it's associated with Republicanism, is that Trumpism is the unification across the board of all demographics.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what people are realizing now. And I think that going forward, that's how it's going to be utilized.
Yep.
Right? It is a reshaping of American politics.
Yeah.
It is a turning point in American history, right? And in world history in itself. Trumpism is the unification of demographics, ideals, races across the board.
Yeah.
Where Republicans were branded essentially as the racist party, right?
Yep.
The Democrat Party was branded as the tolerant party. Now that has been made wide open and revealed. The Democrat Party is the intolerant party. They hate you and despise you if you don't side with them. The Republican Party, although is, for all demographics, right? What has propelled that into a new state, I believe, is Trumpism, right? And Trump has done a phenomenal job in showing that. And the polls show he did successful at bringing people from all parties, all across all walks of life, under one umbrella.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's how Trumpism is going to be viewed and analyzed going forward.
Yeah, I do think there's a fundamental shift in not only the Republican Party, but American politics at large, right? The Democratic Party is incredibly out of touch. They still are. I actually heard yesterday that somebody said that they lost because they didn't run far enough to the left. And they want to run like Bernie Sanders and Stacey Abrams next time. Bernie Sanders is currently 83. He will be 87 at the next election. So, yeah. Totally agree with everything you said. I think you're exactly right. Trump won because he unified the country.
Yeah.
And his victory speech after Pennsylvania was called, the election was over.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania was called about 1:30 in the morning, which I was shocked because last election it took about 2 or 3 days for Pennsylvania to be called because that was the state that the election came down to. And not only did he win Pennsylvania, but he won Wisconsin and Michigan also by pretty decent margins. And but his speech, he started out by saying that the country needs to heal. The soul of the country needs to heal.
Yeah.
We've been going through extremely divisive times. We're incredibly divided as a nation, and we need to come back together and heal and find common ground. Yeah. And I was like, that's a perfect acceptance speech, especially for a guy that you're throwing out there that's Hitler. He's not a dictator. He's not going to never leave office. He's not going to serve a third term. He's going to leave office in 4 years, and there's going to be another election, and it's going to be fine. So
well, I think I've heard people say that now he's going to weaponize the justice system because it's been weaponized against him. And honestly, he won't. In 2016 when he won, right? I honestly think when it comes to, let's look at Hunter Biden, for example. Yeah. Obviously, a guy who is a criminal should be in prison.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Maybe, and who knows who else as well, right? I honestly think that Trump's going to get in, and he's just, because he wants the country to heal so much, I think he's just going to let it go.
He's just going to fix the country.
Yeah, that's more important than chasing after a guy who needs to go to prison.
Yep.
Right? It's a bigger deal than that. And
and he said the same thing about Hillary. He said he could have prosecuted Hillary in 2016, but in his words, it wouldn't be good for the country.
Yeah.
And that's why he didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I think he's right. I think he's right.
And I'm excited. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what he does. I'm very curious right now. The one thing I'm most interested in, because he said he would do it. As soon as he becomes president-elect, he said he's going to be calling Vladimir Putin and Zelensky. So I'm very curious to see how this plays out, because he said he would end it very quickly.
Well, I saw a news headline last night from Newsmax that said, after President-elect Donald Trump's victory Tuesday, a senior Hamas official reportedly called for an end to its war with Israel.
I did see that too as well.
Yeah, and I was like, what in the world? And I think it's because Hamas knows that Trump is just going to give Israel permission to blow them off the face of the earth. But
well, not only the Hamas, but even Iran.
Iran. Yeah, they've got to be scared. Yeah,
Iran's
got to be scared
right now, because well, not only that, but even China right now. China is got to be worried because their economy is not doing good right now. And,
no, it's not.
And Trump, as soon as he's in office, man, he's just to be like,
tariffs,
tariffs
everywhere,
tariff.
In the words of Donald Trump, tariff is the most beautiful word. It's more beautiful than love. That's what he says.
Now, if only he could do it like Trump with the accent,
I can't.
Man, imagine if we could get Cody on here to do our Trump impersonations.
I don't think he can.
It's beautiful.
Oh my gosh, he said that on Joe Rogan, and I was mowing my grass when I was listening to it, and I started laughing so hard. Oh man! But we can wrap it up for today. This was just a quick little bonus episode to give our initial thoughts after the election. Obviously, everybody's in a good mood. I wore this hat out to the grocery store yesterday, and Republicans were feeling good because I got about 5 or 6 compliments about my hat in the store.
Before we get off, let's talk about Ohio made a historic move during the election. All right, Dan Marino is the guy's name, right? Became senator. He displaced Brown. I mean, that is huge.
Yeah, Bernie Marino. Yeah,
that is huge. Bernie Marino.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely just huge for Ohio.
Absolutely.
20 years incumbent Democrat sitting on the Senate seat is now.
Yeah, and he won by a pretty decisive margin. I think he won by about 5 points.
Yeah, so that's also big news, right?
Yeah, that is big news. I saw that your senator in Virginia didn't pan out. He lost to Tim Kaine.
Hung Chow. Think say his name. I was hoping he was.
Yeah, he lost by about 6 points.
Yeah.
I was keeping up with that race, but Virginia, it was closer than I think it should have been. There was a point in time where there was about 80% of the vote in, and Trump was up in Virginia.
Yeah. The problem is Northern Virginia. That's where
that's the problem.
That's the blue area. All of Virginia is pretty much red, except Virginia, which is where D.C. is located at. And so that gives anybody listeners in minds here why Virginia went toward Kamala. Those electoral votes were given to hers because of the Northern Virginia area.
Yeah, absolutely.
Populated with leftists. So, yeah, that outdid the rest of us in the who are not living in Northern Virginia.
Oh, man. So as it sits right now, the Republicans have taken back control of the Senate with a minimum of 52 seats. There are still some races to be called. Let's see if I can pull them up real quick. Yeah, 52 seats. There are still... Yeah, we've gained 3 seats in the Senate. There's still some races that are yet to be called. We've got the Arizona race, which, Carrie Lake is probably going to lose that. Nevada, the Republican is up. Pennsylvania, the Republican is up. So that will be, another 2 seats that we could potentially win. So it'll be interesting to see how those come back. We could have a potential of 54 seats, 53, 54 seats.
The blue wall was not
crumbled.
It was demolished.
Yeah.
It was absolutely demolished, and the red wave simply took over. So I wish I could see some more left-wing liberal tears. That one, who's the filmographer? What's the guy's name who's a left-wing? Michael Moore. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he was so sure of himself. Trump is going to win. Trump is going to win. He said, don't worry, to my fellow patriots, Trump is going to win. Trump is not going to win. Kamala's going to win. Kamala's going to win. Yeah. And they were so sure of themselves that it was going to be a Kamala landslide. And it just...
Not even close.
Not even close.
Nope.
So...
No. It was a beautiful thing if you're a Republican. Yeah, a lot of fun. And I'm excited to see when Trump comes in and all of these liberals, or I'm going to say leftists, because there are some liberals out there that aren't crazy. All of the leftists out there that are saying that Donald Trump's going to be a dictator and he's going to do all these terrible things and he's so unstable and he's going to start nuclear war. I'm just excited to see that when we have the most peaceful time that we've had in the last 20 years, that and the economy's flourishing and Trump's not a dictator. I'm excited to see how they react to that.
Oh, yeah. I love what Mr. O'Leary, right, the Shark Tank guy, said. And he was on Fox, and he said, the system resets itself. He says when the American system starts going too far to the left, it resets itself. And that Trump saved the America way of life. Not only that, but he also said he saved the stock market, the S&P 500. He saved all of those things. And he says Democrats owe a big thank you to Trump because he has saved it. And he did.
Well, the Dow rose 600 points midway through election night.
Yeah.
It just kept increasing.
It was just crazy.
Because it looked like Trump was about to win.
When it opened, it was well over 1,000.
Yep. Trump, I think an hour into election night, he was an 80% betting favorite to win the election.
Yeah, so if you're not into stocks, it's time to start buying stocks. I've just opened up my own thing. And Bitcoin even went to record highs. It was at $75,000. Imagine having one Bitcoin.
I know. Buying a Bitcoin in like 2012.
This was like, I remember too being offered back in I forgot when Bitcoin was first starting to roll out, the opportunity to buy Bitcoin. I didn't know anything about it. So I was like, no. Imagine if I did. Oh, man.
Oh, man. Yeah. So definitely the preferred result. We're very excited about it. Excited to see what Trump does and how he brings the country together and how the country starts to heal. I would love to see a reality where we get less divided as a country and we start to come together, and people start to realize that Republicans aren't evil Nazis. So
I'm excited to see what he does on day one. I've got a feeling he's going to
I
sign
am too.
many executive orders on day
Yep. I'm very excited about all of that.
We're going to see what Elon Musk does. I'm excited to see what Kennedy does.
Yep.
Right? I mean, the guy has been pretty much...
Whoopi Goldberg's very upset that the fluoride is going to be taken out of the water supply. So she's very upset about it.
Oh, man. I'm excited to see what Kennedy does because, he's been pretty much just given unlimited power when it comes to the health side of stuff. And he's just make America healthy again.
Absolutely.
And it's awesome. It's awesome. It's gonna be a great 4 years.
It's gonna be good.
And enjoy it, folks, because then 2028 then will be coming up, and we'll be trying to look at.
I know
what's gonna happen there. So,
but for now, we can breathe. We're out of election season. We've got a winner. So right now, it's just gonna be. There might be some geopolitical things going on over the transitional period between now and inauguration.
Which countries would be stupid to do?
Yeah,
they try to do anything. They'd be very stupid.
They would.
I think we were on the verge of a major war, and if I believe Kamala got elected, the Middle East would have blown up.
Yeah,
it would have.
I agree.
I agree. Trump saved. The Middle East.
Yeah, and one thing I think is true, I do think Trump's victory is a display of God's mercy for the country. I think you talked about this on our episode on Tuesday, how, in the Old Testament, Israel would have a good king, and then every now and again they would get a bad king, actually pretty often. They would get a bad king because that's what they wanted, and then God would show mercy and give them a good king again.
Yeah.
And I do think Trump's victory is God's mercy on the country, because if Kamala Harris would have won, the country as we know it would be fundamentally different.
It would be.
The world as we know it would be fundamentally different. It would be a much more violent and hostile place.
Yes.
And I do think it's for the better. America had the choice between two paths on election night, and I think we chose the better one, the more peaceful one. So it'll be good. I'm excited to see where it goes. So we'll go ahead and hop off for today. We didn't do any sort of fancy intro or anything. We kind of just jumped right into it. This was a bonus episode. So we will be coming back to you next Tuesday with another episode of the Scott and Brandon Show. And we're very happy over here. We're in a good mood. So if you have anything you'd like to say, any dissenting opinions, or if you're just very upset that Donald Trump won and you're worried about it, you're welcome to the show. Yeah, we'd love to have you on the show. We'd love to talk with you and maybe try to quash some of those concerns about nuclear war that you might have. So, all right, everybody. Well, we'll cut you loose, and we'll see you next week.